Dynasty Vipers Vipercast.
Hello and welcome back to the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast, Season 3 of Behind the Grind. Joining me, as always, the co-host with the most, Major Caldwell IV. And hey, our guest this week, he has been giving NBC the edge for some time now. Simply put, he don't lose. He's the one and only Lawrence Jackson Jr. How you doing, Lawrence?
Man, I can't complain. Appreciate y'all having me on this thing. I'm excited to, talk a little bit here and see what's popping out here in these streets.
Let's go.
Well, we are excited to have you on. We were talking a little bit off air a little bit, and this show is called Behind the Grind. And we know that every analyst has a story, and very few have grinded harder than you have the last few seasons. One of the hardest working fantasy analysts out there. I've talked to many people, not just the regular people on the streets, but we're talking about the people in the high-rise buildings there, the Matthew Berrys, the guys like that who've really appreciated everything that Lawrence Jackson Jr. has put into this industry and given back. If you don't know Lawrence, I don't know, you must be hiding under a rock because his videos are everywhere. We're going to talk about some of those videos a little bit later, and maybe I can get a little bit of a preview of one video that kind of dropped on not too long ago. But before we go fully into the Behind the Grind here with Lawrence Jackson Jr., we need to know if you were coming out as a WWE superstar, coming down to the ring, or coming in the ninth inning to close out a ball game, what is that intro music going to be to give the fans a pop when you enter?
Oh, man, damn. It'd probably be something from down south. It's a lot, man. You know what? Most people that I know probably think I say something from T.I., but I'm gonna switch it up and I'm gonna say Soulja Boy. Hot up by the bed, turn my swag on. I go with that right there. Like,
Look in the mirror, say what's up.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
that's one of the ones.
I will go with that right there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Draco.
That'll get you going. That'll get the fans going. But, we've got this Taylor Swift concert kind of taking the whole United States by some, whatever you want to call it. Some of the biggest name fantasy analysts kind of talk about that Taylor Swift being their guilty pleasure right now. So I need to know, Lawrence, who is your guilty pleasure? What is that guilty pleasure song that you're like, you know what? I'm guilty. Hey, I can dig it.
Man, dang. I don't really have that. Like anything I like it outwardly. I don't care what nobody thinking. Like it's matter. I don't know much about what Taylor Swift got going on, but I know she the one. You feel me? Like that concert was just here. I live in Jersey. I live about 25 minutes away from MetLife where they were having that. I should have went, and got up on my Taylor Swift. So if anything, I would just go with that, to be honest. Because anything else for me, man, I would say, yeah, I ain't got no shame in my game. But if there's something that you people wouldn't think I listen to, I'll say that. Me and my my 5-year-old daughter, she's very fond of Justin Bieber, and I wasn't, right? Because again, I ain't know nothing. I don't know nothing. But on one of his albums, it's like 5 songs that I like, and we'll listen to them in the car on the way home, and we singing together. So she kind of put me on, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, right. But again, like that ain't, I'll let the world know that. So it ain't really no guilty pleasure. It was just something that I wasn't on before, but now I am.
It's really amazing what kids get us into, isn't it? From TV shows to, I mean, I've gone through the what's her name? Hilary Duff to the Selena Gomez to the Justin Biebers. I mean, I've gone through that whole experience there of pop superstars there with my children, not to mention the whole Paw Patrol to Caillou to Cocomelon.
Oh yeah, all of them. matter of fact, when I got an older daughter too, a teenager, when she was little. So my youngest daughter right now is Justin Bieber, but when my oldest one was little, she liked it Hannah Montana. So back then, back when she was Hannah Montana, you know what I'm saying? Now she Miley, but back in the day, we was on that.
Hey, don't sleep. Hey,
We-
Hannah Montana was a good show. Don't sleep on Hannah Montana.
You know what? I've
Daughter
still
had
got
me
problems
in
about Hannah Montana to this day. I'm like, how can a wig seriously fool everybody? All she did was change a wig from like her dark hair to her blonde hair, and apparently this fooled the entire world. I mean, I
Hey.
know we can be blind as people in general, but come on, man.
Yeah, it be like that though. That how you got to do it for TV. That's like if you watch the old Batman and Robin, all he got is a little bandana around. Like,
Right.
man, we know that's you, dog. We can see you, Robin. We might not know it's Batman, but this dude got like a little bandana with some holes in it, looking like the Hamburglar. Like, we know who you are, dog. Like,
Yeah, man. Let's talk about young Lawrence for a minute, man. What sports did you play as a kid?
shoot, man. Mainly I played football. That was obviously my main sport. I played basketball, and then I ran track. Yeah.
How did that develop you as a youth? Like, how did that like kind of shape you to the person you are today?
Well, the sports was great for me, because in my area, a lot of folks would get into a lot of other things, but sports always kind of, kept me grounded. And I played football at an extremely young age, so it began to be the only thing I know. All of my relationships and friendships started out because of football. If it was with my partners, it was because we was on the same team. If it
Right.
was with the girls, it was because I was good on the team. You feel
Right.
me? So everything had to do with football from a toddler to we sit here now and play in little kid, high school, college. I played some football after college. So man, really football kind of helped mold. And then you got the coaches along the way, you know what I'm saying, who kind of help you. They're part of your childhood and they're part of helping raise you. Now it be some not good ones who ain't good role models, but then you always, you remember the coaches who told you the good things. And
Right.
eventually I had to stop playing basketball because I ain't nothing but 5'8". So that was gonna have, my defense wasn't gonna be able to carry me to playing and starting as a varsity guard. You know what I'm saying? So I gave that up. So yeah, man.
What
But
what position? What position did you play?
in football.
Yeah.
So in college, I was a corner. I was a cornerback, and back then you didn't really have no they didn't play it like how they do now, where you would like today I would be described as a nickelback. But back then, if you played corner, you just play corner. We was out on the boundary and
Right.
out on the field.
Man up. Yeah.
In high school, I played everything except offensive line and defensive line. So yeah,
Right.
that's how that went.
And who were some of your favorite players growing up? Like who's the people you looked up to?
Yeah,
Could be
straight up.
football, basketball, whatever, like whatever
Yeah,
sport.
yeah, for sure. Because the first person I was gonna say was Michael Jordan. That's any kid, born in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to actually see him play. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? We was 12 and 13 when we seen him, but we seen him. There was another player that used to play for the Hawks named Mookie Blaylock. I liked him back in
Like
the day.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But and that's a person not many people would say, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he was an Atlanta Hawk for a long time. I grew up down there in football. Like I say, I was a cornerback, so prime time was my guy. He made the number 21 what it is today.
Yeah.
Like most people who wearing a 21, it got something to do with Dion. And then obviously growing up in that Atlanta area, Michael Vick. When Michael
Mhm.
Vick came to the Falcons, he set the whole city on fire. Like they ain't win nothing, but he was so electric that it didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? So definitely those was a couple of the ones. And then Kobe Bryant, rest in peace.
There you go.
So I do have one problem with Deion Sanders. I mean, great player
Really?
and whatnot, but he made us forget about another two-sport athlete there in Atlanta in Brian Jordan, who's just as
Oh
good of a
yeah.
ball
Brian
player.
Jordan was
Everyone forgets that Brian Jordan
Yeah, for
actually
sure.
has played more Major League Baseball games than any other professional football player ever has. I mean, I think he's got like 1,430
Yeah.
pro baseball games, and nobody talks about Brian Jordan as a two-sport athlete. It's Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. And I think Deion kind of made people forget about how good Brian Jordan really was. So I want to give a little bit of a shout out there to Brian Jordan here, who was a fantastic player.
Because like you said, he was heavy in the baseball, but it was like Deion was so good at football. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what made people forget. Like Brian Jordan wasn't equal a baseball player as Deion was as a football player. So that's probably what made, and he was a Brave too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to him though, for real.
And then you kind of talk about these coaches. I think coaching is important for a lot of us. I mean, football kept a lot of us out of trouble. I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for football and the threat of having football taken away from me at any time growing up. But you mentioned these coaches, these mentors. Part of the behind the grind is we like to hear about advice that you would give other people. We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. But what was the best piece of advice maybe that you got from one of these coaches?
So, and a lot of them told me this because I was always, when I played football growing up, I didn't really, and this is odd for a person that played corner, I didn't talk much. But if I had like a outburst, it was wild, right? So they used to tell me, just control what you can control, and use what you got to just get to the next level, no matter what it is. Like, say, like you could get a football scholarship. You may not go to the NFL, but use it to get to a college and network there. You know what I'm saying? And then you could have other opportunities, that come when you get removed from that space. So basically it was just, use what you got, use the natural skills that you got to get to the next level, to do whatever. And that's what I would tell somebody too.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I tell the kids all the time that I coach is you can only control two things: your attitude and your effort. Everything else is out of your control. So control what you can do and then see what falls into place. Now, when we talk about things falling into place, it's often because of a decision that we made along the way. And when we talk about your fantasy football journey here, what is one of those decisions that kind of changed that trajectory of Lawrence Jackson Jr.?
Well, it was simply just to play in a fantasy football league. You figure I'm late 30s now. I didn't play in my first fantasy league till I was 28, 29. Most people play well before that. So we talking either 2012 or 2013 was the first time I ever even played in the league. Again, you see how a lot of NFL players, they don't really mess with it like that. Some do, some indifferent, and some think that it suck, right? I was one of them dudes who was like, man, fantasy football, like that's for the dorks. And we're like, what do I look like playing fantasy football? Like I play for real, dog. You feel me? I wasn't with it when I first moved to Jersey, and I was playing on one of my minor league teams. I had been playing with these dudes from 09 to 2010, 2011, and every year they were trying to get me to join a league just because they knew I love football, and they would always hear me talking about it. But I'm like, there's no use for me in fantasy because it ain't real. Ain't no hitting, tackling going on. Ain't no plays being drawn up. All you doing is picking players and getting lucky. I really didn't understand the game of fantasy football, but I joined the league with these dudes and I just started picking players who I knew was good football players. So it was 2012 because that's when I caught Vic that one year when he threw the 6 touchdowns that year. So it was 2012. So I took Julio, I took Randall Cobb. He was good that year. I took Doug Martin. That was his rookie year. Remember, he had a 260-yard rush. So I picked Trent Richardson was good his rookie year. I took all them players on the first time, and that was simply because, like, I was like, they good football players. Nobody was even trying. These dudes been playing. None of these dudes was even trying to mess with Doug Martin. I'm like, he's starting running back, but he wasn't the name that Trent Richardson was coming out of Alabama. So my team was hooked up. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up winning. I only played in one league at a time. I won that one league twice. So then I started another league at my job. And at my job, I would write these little bootleg articles just to talk smack about everybody in the league. And I would send it out in the group chat. So
Nice.
that's kind of how the writing part started. So then, just won a couple of more leagues. I knew a dude out here. Shout out to Bill Enright from Sports Illustrated. He's out here in Jersey. He was like, "Yo, you should start doing it." I was like, "Yeah, all right, hook me up with a job then." I thought it was that easy. Like, just hook me, hook me. You remember this like 2013, 14 or so. So I like, yeah, hook me up with it, paying 6 figures, hook me up. Yeah, I'll do it right now. At the time, I probably was like I had a lot of different jobs. At this time, I probably was an EMT. Yeah, so then I still didn't do it, but then a couple of years later, like 2017, 2018, that's when I actually created an Instagram to make some content. And it was, it was whatever at first. It was just posting a picture and saying, "Get this boy in your next league," So I didn't know what to do, but baby steps, and then, just learned and got better, and here we are.
So you mentioned that 2013-ish, kind of talking about getting a job, getting that foot into the door, posting these pictures with a "come get me" kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're almost there. When we look at this, and you basically say that's the start of the journey. That's kind of when it all kind of started.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen since then to where we are now?
Well, the biggest one is the short form content. It's so many people doing that now. That's kind of what I started out with doing. And it's it's a big thing now because you wanna have their attention. You either want to have their attention for the whole time, so people have succumbed to making a minute video, or you take that minute video from a clip of your podcast, something good, something interesting, and it leads them to hear the entire discussion. So that's going on a lot now, whereas from the first day I put out content in 2017, wasn't nobody really doing that. So I was just trying to find somewhere in there to slither in and be different and do something different. I already knew I was gonna be different because it ain't a lot of people from my cloth that's trying to do this particular job. So I knew I had that going for me. So I just wanted to be different and do different. So, but now it's like you'll see it a lot now. People are taking more into the content. It's not just all about plastering your face with statistics. You got to be fun with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be entertaining with it. You got to be different with it. Whether some things could be different about you that you can't even help. It could be your look. It could be your voice. It could be your delivery. So all of those things that's what I see the biggest difference now is we just not getting plastered with, graphs and statistics and, things of that nature. It's still out there because it's a spot for that, but it's more now about some entertainment.
No, that's dope. So you talked about all the different jobs and stuff you had.
For sure.
But at what point did you say, like, man, I'm about to go hard at this sports media thing, at this fantasy thing? Like, when did you like, I'm about to quit this job and go in on this thing?
So that one that long ago, probably like 2020 maybe. Uh I never was gonna quit my job, but I would. So I was driving a truck, just a 26-foot box truck. What I would do, and if you could go back to 2021 and see me doing videos in my truck.
Nice.
I either did it in my truck or in my car. People who know me from them times, they used to be like, "Oh, that's the dude in the car doing his videos." But what I would do is like, if something happened, I'll pull over, make the content during some little break I was in. Because I had to go to work, I do one of these videos, major. I do one of these videos before I go to work. So if I had to go to work at like 6 a.m., I'll probably get up about 4:30 and, and knock me out of video. I'll get the raw footage in there, and then I edit it while I'm at work. So I was definitely slacking at my real job, but I ain't too much care. The
Right.
people, they started knowing I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So once 2021 came around and I had the opportunity to do freelance over at NBC Sports Edge, I was like, well, shit, let me go ahead and see what's up with this. And they was like, hey, we come bring them videos on over here. Because at that time, still, it even in 2021, it wasn't a lot of just short form content like made for itself. Yeah, you could get it from the podcast and put it, but it wasn't ready made for itself. So that's around the time when I was like, yeah. And then it got to the point where I was calling the folks at NBC. I say, look, man, I say, this freelance is cool, but I'm not a complacent guy. I'm ready to quit my job now. You know what I'm saying? So I still had to apply and go through the process and compete with some other folks to get it. But I think I don't think they didn't expect me to learn what I learned on the job, because when I got in there as freelancer, I wanted to learn how to get my writing, get that right, get the other stuff right, the podcast, show them I could do other things. So part of that helped me, break through, so to speak. So yeah, man, that really was how that went down.
I love that you mentioned that short content type video, because I think a lot of people don't understand is, first off, you are doing this consistently. I mean, there's like a new video almost daily, basically coming out of the truck type mold there. But I think what
Yeah,
people don't understand is these short videos, even though they're just a minute in length, it's an hour of research. It's writing it out. And you mentioned going to NBC, becoming more of a complete writer. Well, the good thing about doing what you were doing is you're writing a script out every single video, every single show,
right.
and then editing it yourself and putting all this other stuff in that, a lot of people take for granted. When they see the video, the finished project, they don't understand what went into everything to get to that point. So when I look at everything, this is something I've done here. And again, the only thing I got going for me is my mustache. You talk about setting yourself a little bit different. I got the mustache working. That's basically how I get mine known. I mean, but I try these videos and it's
Hulk Hogan voice, man. You got something going, man. Come on, don't.
Hey, brother, come on, brother.
Hey, what you gonna do? You get the whole head shaking going in there. But people don't understand how difficult it is for these 1 minute videos. So I've tried 1 minute videos and it's a minute 15, it's a minute 20. And you're trying to get your personality into each video. You're trying to get the information that people want in each video. And then you have to decide what's important, what's not. Do you want to lose a little bit of yourself? Do you want to lose a little bit of that information? For you personally, how do you kind of differentiate there when you put out the final product of that video? What gets in, what doesn't? How do you keep that down to the 1 minute level? Because even writing 200-word articles, it sounds easy, but it's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah. So I'm usually and you see in a lot of, if you go back to the old videos, I'm like, I'm just talking straight through. Once I switched it up, and you see people do that now too, like they cut it up, woo-de-woo. So it might start out like a 3-minute thing, you know what I'm saying? Then there's them times where I say something and I mess up. I don't stop the recorder, I just keep going. But so it's a lot of, god damn it, like it's a lot of that in between, you know what I'm saying?
Outtakes, huh?
So if I do want a video to be 1 minute, or I want it to be 1:30 and it's at 1:32, right? I had to then say, all right, which one of these extra little ad libs can we go without? Did I say too much, or did I say the or and when I really ain't had to? That's the tedious part of it, because the raw video is probably the easiest part. If I want it to come out good for people to see, because I take them very seriously, every single one, knowing that, and that's another thing too. You got to know every video ain't gonna get 10,000 views. You know what I'm saying? You can't work like that though. I just work like I'm putting this out like it's gonna get 10,000 views or 20,000 views every single time. So each time it get the same effort and the same thought. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna put out something or that had that one extra word. Whatever. I'll get it the next time. No, I'm taking that out because if people gonna be tuning in, then I want that info to be high and tight, but yeah, I just want you know it it's a perfect, you got to get that perfect mix of just letting the folks know who you are, getting that info out there. And for me personally, I do them videos like I'm talking to y'all right now, and that's the point of it for me. For if you watching it and we ain't talking live, I want you to feel like it is.
Right.
Like you be feeling like, let me answer back. Oh damn, he ain't really talking to me right now. I'm watching the video.
Right.
I want you to feel like you could answer back, right there. And the only time I really get that animated about anything in life is when I'm talking about football.
And they just kind of follow up on that whole hardest working type person in the industry type thing, which is something I've heard over and over and over again, whether it's from Corey
Yeah.
Parsons, man. We love Corey Parsons over out here too, right? But
That's my
where does
man.
that hustle come from? Where does that, because not everyone likes to hustle. Not everybody likes to grind. You have to be wired a certain way to actually enjoy the grind when it's all said and done. So where does that kind of implement for you? Where did you kind of get that installed?
Shoot, man, I seen my folks doing that, and I knew coming into this, wasn't nobody just gonna give me nothing. Like I knew I was like, and I also knew that I was gonna do it this way. Like I wasn't about to, put on certain type clothes and start trying to talk a certain way, because eventually, you know, they gonna know, man, that ain't me. Like whoever that is already out there. So I just knew I knew it wasn't gonna be getting to me easily, but I always was trying to get it popping. Like I used to sell Doritos at school, you know what I'm saying? Like it's in chicken biscuits from Chick-fil-A. So I was always like that. So now that I'm even right now as we sit today, like, yeah, I might work at NBC or whatever. It sound cool, but it ain't the end. I'm far, trust me, I am far from being complacent. I don't care what's going on over here. Like this cool, but it's like I be having other things going on too, man. It's just I don't know, that's just how it my brother the same way. I guess when you around certain type people, you pick that up, and there are definitely folks out there who opposite of that mindset, and I don't even blame them, because if you started out and if you started out and you got like I don't want to say trust fund, because that's major, that nobody got that, but if you got an allowance every week, right, that's free money right there. So if you get that as a kid, that's already embedded in your head. I
Right.
ain't get no allowance, I ain't go to the barbershop, my daddy used to cut my hair.
Right.
So it's like, well, damn, what do I gotta do later on in life to so I could go to the barbershop and get the fresh shape up, not the not the homemade, not the homemade joints, man. So even before I was working in this industry, when I worked my regular jobs, I would, if I would go on Craigslist and move furniture if somebody needed something done for the weekend, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm in a different space now to where I'll leverage. It's all about leverage what you got. And this goes back to what I said earlier, use your skill or what you got to get to the next level. So it's like, if I'm in this position, well, this is great. Now let's see where because if you could get there, if you could get here or there, well, then you could go anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you could meet and have a conversation with this person, you could meet and have a conversation with that person.
It's all
And
related. Yeah.
yeah, everything is related, man. Just use what you got for the good and get to going.
Man, for real. That's great advice. Talk to us about your Twitter handle, man. Like, I love it, man. The Lord don't lose. Talk to us about what that means to you.
um, what that mean to me? So it basically it sound better than fantasy football gigolo.
Yeah.
It's imagine if I'd have tried to roll on with that.
Yeah.
We'd have had some problems.
Different
But
kind of
see,
energy.
yeah, I'd have had to make all my videos with a shirt off and a tie on, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
I'd
man.
I'd have had a different gimmick then. So, that's that basically what it is. And just don't lose, man. You never lose. Everybody said now, but back then a lot of people weren't thinking about if you don't you never lose, you win or you learn. It was just that kind of mindset. I got a tattoo on me when I was 18 that said, "Don't fade away, burn out." And it's kind of the same concept. Like, don't just go through the motion, go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? You can't just get to the paint and flop, expect the defender to just try to take the charge. Nah, you fly into the lane and make the dunk. So that's kind of just, it kind of got something to do with that.
No, that's hard.
I'm gonna have to Google or look up fantasy football gigolo. If that's still out there, I might have to take a shot.
No,
at
it
that.
ain't-
I got
it ain't-
no problem. No problem going topless and doing a video. If that's what gets the people in there, right?
We don't
No
need
shame
that.
here.
We don't need that, man.
Hey, that might work though. That might work for you
No,
though.
don't do
That might
that.
work.
Don't do
Everyone's
that.
gonna be looking right here. This is where everyone's gonna be looking anyway.
Yeah,
I laughed a little bit there when you talked about the barber shop and getting the haircut and having your parents do it because, hey, I had the bowl haircut. I mean, I looked like Toad off of Mario Brothers. That's basically how I grew up for a lot of time. There's a reason you learn
Yeah.
certain traits growing up, and having a bad haircut is one way to learn many other skills when it's all said and done.
Right.
For
When we
sure.
look at you kind of mentioned your work history from selling Doritos there on the playground, EMT, the truck driving, all this other kind of stuff that kind of went into it. I'm going to take a wild guess that probably none of that really was what you went to school for in the first place, what you went to university for at some point.
Yeah.
When you take everything into account, what you did in the past and what you went to school for, and if you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what would Lawrence Jackson Jr. be doing?
By now, shoot, man, that's crazy. I don't even. Well, technically, I would still be, driving a truck, but I'd probably be dabbling in like real estate or something, trying to hustle up something that way, or I'd be a bookie. I'd be, or a runner or something. I used to be a runner.
There you go.
Sounds
See,
like bookies are a very popular kind of platform there in Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about it till I moved up here. I ain't know nothing about it because we don't do that. That ain't the type of gambling and hustling we do down by my way. So that's big up here, Jersey and New York and stuff like that. Is all foreign to me. When the Super Bowl come around, all my partners from back home, they be like, "Hey man, can you put this bet in for me?" Because they can't bet down there. I'm like, man, no, like you never bet and you want to bet now just because it's the Super Bowl. Like, I ain't doing that for everybody.
right. No, that's funny. So talk to us about what have you learned about yourself through fantasy sports, like this journey you've been on. Like, what have you learned about yourself that maybe you didn't know doing those other jobs you've been doing?
I learned that, it's good to get around and meet some folks from different backgrounds. It's good to meet some folks with different backgrounds because you could whatever experience I had, you could run into somebody who got a completely different experience and you just learn something new off of them. I also learned, which I kind of already have. I was always a cool, calm, collected cat, so I always had restraint. But coming up in this, I would, because I needed Twitter for this to happen for me. You know what I'm saying? I would say I learned I got a lot of restraint because I be seeing some dumbass stuff on the Twitter every day. And
Can't
I
fix
just be
stupid.
and I ain't gonna argue with you. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna copy the link and show my partner, like, look at this month, right?
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? I ain't into that. I just want to put and and I'm not see a lot of people say this, that ain't how they live. You see it, you don't see me ever getting in because what I got to be arguing about, like we working over here, coming up to try to get the job. I knew my best chances of doing that was to avoid and dodge all that, that online stuff that folks just can't help but to get into. When there's a lot of outrage going on, I just sit back and be like, I'll wait till this over with, hit them with the content, hit
There you
them
go.
with that news. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely learned that it's meeting people from different backgrounds is better than you think. And I also learned about myself. I had better restraint than I think, because man, I don't be caring for real.
Yeah.
Just send me my checks. I work, send me my check. Whatever y'all got going on, like
Handle that over there.
y'all don't be into that either. That's
No,
why I'm on here right now. You feel
right.
me? So, just man, we out here trying to get it.
Yeah. No, that's dope. You said like meeting people from different backgrounds and stuff like that. Talk to us about some of the people who helped you along the way. We all know relationships is like the key to life for the most part. So talk about some
For
of the
sure.
people who helped you get you where you're at right now in this industry.
Yeah, so again, first and foremost, it was Bill Enright from Sports Illustrated who first was like, "Yo, you should do this and just be like how you was when I seen you on the flag football field." And
Mm.
I was like, "All right." So whatever. He introduced me to Corey Parson. Corey Parson at the time was at Sports Illustrated. I worked with him briefly at NBC Sports Edge, but he been someone who been in the game a decade and a half or
And again,
more. So he knew the tricks of the trade, and him being from Harlem, you know, saying, they just talk different where they from than we talk, you
exactly.
know what I'm saying? So we had a lot, we related a lot there. He told me kind of how the business go. I done met him. My man Emery Hunt at CBS. He been
Yep,
in the game for a while. And
yep.
then the dudes, that I work with, Roto Pat Doherty, you know what I'm saying? And Denny, they kind of helped me tighten up when it come to the writing. Um, of course, a little later than that, Matthew Berry. I did like a 6-month stint at Fantasy Life before I became full time at NBC. So before, you know what I'm saying, before I hell, I used to talk to him more then than I do now on Fantasy Life, because it was like he's like just you know asking me like, yo, what you want to be in this industry. This is before like I was able to get on his show and whatnot. So yeah, them definitely a few of the people that showed me some things.
Well, I didn't have this question necessarily written into the show sheet ahead of time, but it got me thinking there a couple questions ago when you talk about what you've learned in the industry, you talk about your restraint and whatnot, and you talk about turning over to your partner and showing, hey, look at this tweet. So I need to
Yeah,
know, how many of those tweets did you show your partner that I actually wrote? Because I say some
none.
stupid things from time to time. I'm like, I'm no stranger to saying something stupid when it comes to social media.
Nah, I don't remember any that. I don't remember that you said. It may nah, it ain't you. It be most of it be like actual football tweets, because so the fantasy football is a great thing, right? But it's a gift and a curse. Like, fantasy football will get people minds screwed up about how
Man,
real football work. And again, I'm not I had to learn fantasy football. Football something like we been on that. Like everybody nowadays, they be watching film. That's cool. I like people to learn. You know what I'm saying? But we were doing this in 99, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if sometimes, it could get messed up. And so for somebody like me, if I see it, I'd be like, man, I be wanting to help them, but I don't like giving unsolicited advice. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it to come off like I'm over you or something like that. Because that ain't really what it's about. I got plenty. I don't know if I know Faraz Siddiqui, Upper Hand Fantasy, big account on Instagram. He never played a day of football in his life, but me and him tight because I seen him when he first started, and he really putting in effort every day to learn how the game go and learn what to look for. So I could tell when somebody really ain't dug in and they just out there, when this is my guy, he's gonna go nuclear, and they write that in all caps, and I just kind of be like, huh, you know what I'm saying? Like it don't, I don't have no like, oh my God, this guy's an idiot. Cause they're not idiots. I just be like, huh, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick, Matt, before you go to your next question, talk because I feel the same way. We all played ball and stuff growing up, college and all that good stuff. Talk about how you see the game a little bit different than somebody who really haven't played before. Because I feel like sometimes I don't even have to watch the game sometimes, and I know what happened in the game just by what it is. Or if I see a player's highlight film, I can see that, oh, his highlight film is making him look better than what he really is. Or I can see somebody in the background and be like, oh man, I like that dude. Like I was early on Ramondre Stevens. I'm early on a lot of players because I can see something just because I played running back. So I'll kind of like see how running backs move and stuff. Does that kind of happen with you? Do you, because you played and everything, like you said, you've been watching film since a kid. Like I've been watching film since I was a little kid. So like I understand how to break down a film. So how does that help you in your fantasy evaluations, I guess?
Yeah, like I say, remember that first team I drafted, Julio,
Right.
Randall Cobb. I didn't know I didn't know, who was. I didn't even know what an RB3 was. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I was like, let me get these good players. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, nah, man, definitely. You definitely, especially you kind of like people will say that, for instance, there was this play that was circulating during Senior Bowl time. Tajay Spears, he ran a option route out the backfield,
Right.
and he made that little move and he beat the linebacker, and everybody was blowing that up. But I'm looking like the linebacker did his responsibility. There's no defense there, and the quarterback got extra time. So the move looks sweet. And if he pulled that off in the game, that's a big game. But you going back, first you got stopped on the initial route. Two, you going back into the other linebacker. I didn't make no tweet about that because again, I'm good on that.
Exactly.
Like I know it's enough for me. Like I'm comfortable enough in my belief that I don't have to, be trying to beat everybody in the head to try to think my way, because my way ain't always the best way.
Right.
I'm just going by what I see, what I know, what I learned, what I experienced. But that was an example of just how, playing, and seeing and at least thinking I know what you're supposed to do differs from just, oh, well, he ran for 1,300 yards and he beat this dude on a 6 option route where he had all this time. So that's where I would say it would defer a little bit.
Perfect example. It's on you, Matt.
Yeah. It's no different than what I coach. Like I tell my kids at the wide receiver position, so there's 3 ways to win. There's speed, there's size, and there's your route running ability, which includes your release off the line. Speed eventually disappears. Your size, eventually people catch up, right? You always have to continue focusing on your route running. So when I look at fantasy football, especially the wide receiver position, how are these guys winning, and is that sustainable at the next level? That's kind of that eye that you guys are talking about there. Speaking of fantasy meeting reality, it's very polarized when we talk about players that are better in football than they are necessarily in fantasy football. And sometimes maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Maybe all you got to do is get the ball to number 8, right, Lawrence? Maybe that's what you got to do is kind of find a way to get good players the ball and see what happens. And one of the guys that we're talking about here is being polarizing. You literally just dropped, by the way, a fantastic music video on, which we need to find a way to get this on MTV or whatever they do nowadays. I don't even know there are music videos, but Kyle Pitts is one of the more polarizing players. You talked about him there in a recent video. 1,000-yard rookie season, injuries last season, touchdowns not being there the first season.
No quarterback.
Obviously, touchdowns not there being last season. Desmond Ridder now has a full season. Remember, Desmond Ridder didn't play with Kyle Pitts last season. And that's the thing a lot of people are forgetting when they knock Kyle Pitts. So I know we didn't talk about fantasy football a whole lot on the show, but I kind of needed to talk about this as a Falcons fan. I mean, that's kind of your guy there down in Georgia there with the Dirty Bird going on. First off, fantastic breakdown of the Dirty Bird. I've tried to
hold on. I'm not getting it was a little lazy, dog. It wasn't crispy like they used to. Come on, Lawrence. You know you supposed to hit it a little harder than that, dog.
But see that's the thing. The way Jamal Anderson did it, that ain't my style though. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I was just chilling. You feel me? I was like, and I was standing on the little, little ledge, so I couldn't fall too either. Now I wasn't trying to fall, just trying to look like Jamal Anderson.
That's funny.
If I try and bust out the Dirty Bird, it's going to be a combination of the San Diego chicken with the chicken dance.
Maybe you throw a little Macarena in there.
Hey, that's why
we could start throwing it in there. You
gonna have to show. You got to practice your Dirty Bird dance now. Show me at the expo in a couple months.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to be there. That's for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing flag football or not. I'm just coming off a hip replacement, which, by the way, means I'm like probably going to be actually better than I once was. Hopefully, that's kind of. I'm going to use it as an excuse, one way or the other. I'm going to use it as an excuse. The hip.
Right.
I got to talk about when you drop that video. What goes like? Because that means that's kind of stepping out of the element there. I haven't really seen you singing or rapping in a video, so that's kind of the first time I got to see that. So, what kind of came to your mind that hey, this is the video I want to do?
Yeah, again, it's like I know ain't nobody doing it. I know ain't nobody gonna do it. Ain't nobody. People might sing a country song or something like that and get a shout out to Pat Corain, my former colleague. He know how to play the guitar. I'm like, cool. Well, I'll do the kind of music that I do. You know what I'm saying? I was at my daughter's softball game like a month ago, and that Drake song popped in my head, and I was like, man, I'm finna do me a Kyle Pitts song and video. So I started thinking about it, and then I was thinking about, well, how do I want to do the video? Like, who do I want to put people in it, or do I want to, which people do I want to put in it, where I want to do it? Well, I was set up to go back to the crib. So I hit up my partners like a week ahead of time. I was like, hey, as soon as you get me from the airport, let's go to the stadium. We'll do it right there. It probably took like 15 minutes to do it. You know what I'm saying? We took like 15 minutes. And
you freestyled it?
No. So when I can't rap like that. Like I could make it sound like I can.
Yeah.
But if you like freestyle, I'd be like, nah. But I took a week to learn the stuff that I wrote down. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make it short, fun, sweet. You know what I'm saying? Just get it out there, something fun to do. It ain't me coming out saying Kyle Pitts gonna finish as the top fantasy tight end, because that's not where I'm at right now. I'm just saying, like, this boy could play, so help us out. Who you trying to pick up in fantasy? So but it was cool, man. But again, like, I'm always zigging when they zagging, and my mind is going 24/7. You know what I'm saying? What we done talked about in this past 50 minutes, you guys might have asked me a question, and I done already thought about how I'm gonna make that some content. Because I make the content off what I see. Other people might ask questions or say something crazy. I'll make the content off them and make a video out of it and give them the facts. So in that music video, I wasn't finna be talking about all his stats and his metrics and his EPA. I don't even know what that means still. I just keep it basic. In the Pitts video. Like, hey, he 22. He going into year 3. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this video on, throw the VIX on, because, we in Atlanta. I throw on the
Right.
VIX on the feet, you feel me? And so, I went back on Facebook. I don't even be on Facebook. I went on Facebook just to post it, because that's where all my people be from Georgia. They on there. So I posted that. I let them see what was going on, man. But I'll definitely be doing something again. But it got to be right, though. I wouldn't just put out something, half-ass. It got to be right, and I'll definitely do it again.
Hey, another one of the videos.
Major, I'm going to jump on here real quick because I got to do this, because you're in the Jersey area.
Yeah.
There's a quarterback there that goes by the name Vanilla Vic. Could you kind of make some kind of Ice Baby, Daniel Jones type thing going on there?
Lawrence, set this dude straight, Lawrence. Come on.
I would do that if he actually was the Vanilla Vic. He don't really run like that. He kind of just run like a straight up. He run like a 400-meter runner, just long stride. Yes, he runs a lot closer to Forrest Gump than he do Michael Vick, and he about 6'6".
Right.
Like Vic was 6 foot, shaking him up. I would say Josh Allen runs, and he don't run like that either.
Okay.
You know who actually if we're gonna take a vanilla white dude quarterback that actually ran like Vic, the closest thing I could think of on the top is Johnny Manziel. He just wasn't as fast,
right.
but he had some. You could tell he was listening to hip hop music.
I was thinking Doug Flutie there a little bit there. Little guy just bobbing and weaving.
No. Hey, but another one of the videos that I really like of yours is the one when you had the little girls out on the field and you was throwing them in, like you was throwing left hand, right hand, you was doing you had the girls out there dancing. Like, man, where'd you grab these little girls from? And explain that video, because that's just the best video to me.
Oh, that video, that's my oldest daughter and her best friend. So shout out to my daughter Ari and her best friend Amanda. Shout out to them. They finna graduate high school. They hoopers. They play on the basketball team. They play every sport, so they athletic. They even play in the little they be having this powder puff football game. They play in that. So if you come from me, you gonna be athletic. Believe that.
Yeah.
So I hit up my daughter one time. I was like, hey, can you and some of your friends come help me make this little video? You know what I'm saying? Got the Dolphin shirts made. And that was just a fun way, again, of me trying to tell these people how the Dolphins was going to ball.
Yeah.
And they did that. So
it came true, yeah.
Yeah, and so I told them, I said, hey, y'all, this ain't no serious thing. It's whatever. Do a little dance when you when you catch the football. I'm gonna even throw it lefty, like Tua.
Commentary was that's the commentary. You like, a little dirty bird there, got a little,
yeah. That's my favorite video to date. Yeah,
that's one of my favorites for real. But let's end this thing off right, man. Give us one last piece of advice for those of us out here trying to make it in this industry. You dropped a lot of gems, but if you kind of sum everything up and let us know what's going on. And plus, that's number one. Number two, give us your best advice for us parents out here, man. You got 2 little girls. Like, talk about that as well.
For sure. Yeah. So on the making it front, it's kind of weird too, because I feel like I still ain't made it yet. But I get what you're saying though.
Yeah.
I would say, man, I know it could be stuff that is gonna get the hits, that is gonna get the engagement, but deep down, that's some weird stuff you doing to get that engagement. I would say, man, just stay true to the craft. Find it, practice it, and stay true to it, and it'll come true. You don't remember me having to call some player a Walmart worker to get laughs out of people. You ain't got to do that. You don't see me, posting my 6-pack. It's like 5.2 right now, but we straight. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing all that. I'm just putting out this content. I ain't going in everybody thread, posting crazy stuff to get people to. I ain't gonna say, hey, whoever retweet this, I'll pay you $200. Nah, Find that craft. Find yourself in the content. Find yourself in the content. Perfect that craft and keep at it. And hopefully somebody's looking for that. You know what I'm saying? Because it is possible that, you could work your ass off for 10 years and something may not pop off, but you better be ready because year 11, if you still in it, that's when it might come through. I never got in the mindset of I should be here now because I'm this age or I've done this amount of work. I promise you on my kids that that's not the mindset to get there. Just keep on getting it, build some relationships, stay true to the game, man.
There you go. And then give us your best parenting advice for dads out here or girl dads out here.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing I'm still learning every day, man.
Always.
Especially with some girls, man, because and again, I got them on two different ends of the spectrum. So it's just like, don't tell them what to do, just guide them. You just try to guide them. You know what I'm saying?
Advice.
That's all, because at the end of the day, they gonna do what they do when they get grown. So the best you could try to do is just to guide them in a decent path, and then everything will turn out straight. But I'm for sure proud of mine at right now. I keyword on right now.
Yeah, right now. Hey, like you said, you put the bumpers up like in bowling. You put those bumpers up. Just don't let them bump their head too much. They got to just to figure stuff out.
Yeah. You don't want to break the bumpers.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right for sure.
I know all too well what you guys are talking about here. We talked about raising daughters.
Matt got like 100 kids. If you don't know, he got like 100 kids on around.
Oh, you Philip Rivering out here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm basically, if you combine Philip Rivers and Antonio Cromartie, that's Matt Donnelly.
What? No way. We're
right up there. But it's been fantastic having you on the show here.
Yeah, man, really
good. Work over
really
there
good.
at NBC Sports there with the Edge. Catch you on Happy Hour there on Peacock on occasion as well.
Yeah.
With that all being said, this has been the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast Behind the Grind. And whether you have a 5.26 pack or, well, a mini keg, fantasy analysts, and we'll see you next week.